I'm still watching The Last of Us Season 2. Having already seen Last of Us Season 1, and despite, like, my many misgivings about it being made because I was such a huge fan of the first game and the second game, I was like, I don't think you're going to be able to capture the same heights of those original titles. It was just written so well, directed so well, performed so well. And even though I don't feel like, they reached the same heights, it was still very good. And even the number of the changes they made, I actually really, really liked. Seeing what other countries did in regards to the infection, the cordyceps. But also with, like, Frank and Bill, as I've gone on about, like, I thought that was a wonderful episode, just even as a standalone. I thought it was beautiful. I cried during the episode. But overall, I really like that season. And season 2, like I said, I've just been very mixed on. I feel like there's definitely some highlights, namely Pedro Pascal as Joel, Gabriel Luna as Tommy, Catherine O'Hara, who is a new character as far as I know, or at least I don't really remember her too much from the game, if she was in the game, but I really liked her character. She's certainly a more prominent role. I like that. Clearly, they have a lot more money now. There's a lot of spectacle. Like the second episode was amazing. The Siege of Jackson. I've loved all that. Like that's been really good. Really good. Like, there has been good moments. But the thing that has consistently bothered me about this entire new season is the way in which Ellie is written. I just don't understand why Ellie is being written like such an obnoxious, snot-nosed brat. And it's consistent for these last 3 episodes. And I'm naturally going to compare it to the games, obviously, since these are adaptations of the games. And Ellie, in part 2, and even in the first part, like, even in part 1, she's not, yes, she's a teenage girl, but there was never, like, a moment where I was, like, annoyed with her presence. Where I was like, God, you're obnoxious. God, I wish you weren't here in a moment. Like, I fell in love with that character. Like, my paternal instinct started to come out, much like Joel in that game, right? And by the end of that game, I was like, don't you touch her! Like, I was that guy. I was like, I wanted to save her. And in part 2 of the video game, like, Ellie has matured, especially in this very cruel, harsh world, even though she has found a home and a community, a growing one, someone even described as a vibrant one. But she as a character in the video game matured. She was, wiser, smarter, more cunning, level-headed. Sure, she goes to seek revenge for the things that happen. But there was never, like, a moment where I was, like, annoyed with Ellie. I understood her decision-making. I understood, like, where she stood on a lot of things. And how she interacted with everyone around her. It wasn't, like, obnoxious. It was like, oh, I like her relationships. But for whatever reason, in the adaptation of part 2 for season 2 of The Last of Us, she is consistently written like an immature, obnoxious, snotty brat. And she is that way not just to Joel, even though she's not really like that to Joel in the game. Like, she's mad at him. You understand as to why she's mad at him. But she's like that to everyone. Even people who are her quote-unquote friends. I'm like, what is this choice? It doesn't make any sense. And I just find myself growing to resent her as a character. And it was my fear after episode 2, where it's like, all right, well, a lot of this is going to be on her shoulders now. And, like, so far in this 3rd episode, I was like, yeah, this I don't think this is working whatsoever. And I think maybe the excuse as to why they have her acting this way, even though I don't think it's a very good excuse as well. Belle Ramsey looks so young. She does. She doesn't look like Ellie from the games at all. And so much, but she doesn't even look her age. Like, Ellie at this point is supposed to be like 19 and 20 years old, and Belle Ramsey, unlike all of her co-stars who are supposed to be like 19, 20, or that specific age, they all look considerably older. She still looks like she's, 13 years old. And so like, that could be their excuse, but again, it doesn't work because I just find her behavior annoying. And it's really hard to get behind her as a character and like her and be invested when she literally acts that way with everyone she comes across. And I'm just saying, not saying like 1 or 2 people. It's like everybody. Even had like Tommy going like at one point when she's talking to him about the thing that happens. And Tommy's like, don't talk to me like I don't know. And I was like, finally, at least someone. And then he's a little pushback. But it's utterly bizarre. I think it's really hurting the show. And I don't understand why they're doing this. It makes no fucking sense whatsoever. And it's really turning me off. So I'll keep watching for now, but I just feel like this is how she's going to be consistently written. And I'm not blaming Bellis, and she's getting a lot of hate. But like the reasons why I dislike her character, the character she's playing, her version of Ellie so much, is really just because of how she's written, how she's directed. And as I've said before many times in the past, like you can be the best actor in the world, but if you're getting a shit script and shit direction, you're probably gonna give a shit performance. And I think that's exactly what's happening now, and it is not working. So that's all I have to say about The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 3. I'll still give it a shot, but I just don't think this is going to change. I think clearly. I thought there was going to be a bit of a change after the second episode, but it's like, nope. Nope, not at all. Oh, man. Oh, let's see here. WinFox. I think I'm just kind of tired of The Last of Us at this point. I may come back to it, just tired of Sony milking it. Sure. No, I get it. Let's see here. Biggie Smith, maybe the actress could only play the child part well. And couldn't pull off the adult parts of the shoulders, change her character. Maybe, yeah, I mean, it's good speculation. It could be that. It's like they tried to write her. Maybe she tried to act like mature and like how Ellie is in the game in part 2. And it's just like, this isn't working. Just go back to what you were doing in part 1, even though it's not good. So you're right. Christian Paternal Instincts. Who is this guy? And what did he do to her? I like kids. I don't mind kids. Kids can be great. I just don't like snotty little bratty kids. Because even more apparent whenever the pair her up with characters are actually pretty level. Yeah, I mean it is like when thank God for like Jesse, because I'm like, yeah, this is how that actor who's playing Jesse, he's doing a great job. He's just like the character from the game, and they're actually giving him more scenes and more stuff to do. He's great, and I'm like, and the other thing that bothers me, because this is the kind of like storytelling I hate, where you have like people put in this type of exposition dialogue where it's like, oh, Ellie, you need to stop, not even stop acting this way. Or maybe it's like, I think it was like mentioned in episode 1 or something, where someone brings up, like they critique Ellie for something, but then they say, it's like, oh, Ellie, don't you understand? Everyone looks up to you. I'm like, who? Who looks up to her? What are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense, you know? Whereas, like, I would definitely look up to Jesse. This guy has his shit together. He knows what he's doing. Ellie is just like, she's still like 13 years old. It's like, wow, I would be annoyed with her. I'd be like, this bitch is gonna get us all killed. And well, I thought it was gonna lead to a switch this where after the thing happened, she suddenly finally grows up real quick. But no, that's why I was like, all right, which I still wouldn't like. Well, I was like, all right, well, at least we finally got past that, and she'll start acting mature. It's like, no, she's exactly the same. I'm just like, I can't do it. And to the point where it's like the homophobe guy, he actually shows character. Of course, you know, people have played the game. If you haven't seen the TV show, there's this one guy who lives in Jackson who doesn't like Dina and Ellie like smooching and, you know, hugging on the dance floor. And he's like, lesbos. Right? And Jill comes in there and is like, we just beats the shit out of him, or pushes him, essentially. And then later on, like, you know, he apologized, makes some sandwiches. And that guy, he actually has several great scenes in the show. And where he apologizes, he even knows, is like, yeah, I shouldn't have said that. And I shouldn't think that way. And I'm sorry. And then he has like they give him more stuff to do in the 3rd episode. And I'm like, this guy's actually showing character growth, like, you know, and she's still giving him shit. But he's evolved as a character. I was like, I want to follow this man. I want to follow Mr. Homophobe compared to Ellie. And that's crazy. It's mind-boggling, but that's the way it is. Yeah. What are your thoughts on Pedro as an actor? I think Pedro Pascal is a very good actor. I do think he's overexposed right now. I actually really liked him as Joel, and believe me, I had a lot of misgivings about him being cast, not underestimating not saying like he couldn't reach the same heights of the character, but I was just like, I've just seen him a lot. He just seems to be in everything. And I think some of the roles that he's, been cast in have been kind of underwritten. Like Gladiator, people forget he's in Gladiator 2, because essentially he's like half of Maximus's Russell Crowe's character. In that movie. It's such a forgettable, boring, dull character, right? And it's like, yeah, when you attach yourselves to those kind of roles and less than great films, then people are going to be like, you're going to get sick of you. But I do think he's a good actor. And I think he was actually very good. I think he has had some of the best moments this season in Last of Us. I thought he was great as seeing him as an older Joel. I really like that. He just, this quiet intensity, particularly when he's with Catherine O'Hara in episode 1. And we see that again and also just interacting with his family and his nephew and then all of his scenes with Caitlin Dever, with Abby, I thought was handled very well. Very well. Just shut the fuck up and get over it. I love that he got done with her monologue. Shut the fuck up. I thought that was good. I'm not a Pedro Pascal hater. I know there's a lot of people out there that hate Pedro Pascal. I'm just like, I don't be a little more discerning with the roles you're picking because he is getting a little overexposed. And that happens to a lot of big popular actors. Maybe they didn't want to recast. Yeah, it's at a point now. I'm like, they should have recast. They really should have recast. It's just now. It's just not working. The numbers of the show are severely down. Yeah, I do wonder how this is going to do this season because they have a 3rd season planned, and I do sandwich guy, homophobic sandwich guy. When he said steak sandwich, I'm like, in the apocalypse, you made steak sandwiches in the post apocalypse. Fuck, I mean, all right, I'll forgive him. I'll forgive homophobe guy. He's gonna make me steak sandwiches. I'd be like, all right, it's okay. So, I got distracted. I forgot what I was talking about. Well, no, the numbers. Yeah, I'm not. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm very curious to see how the rest of the season is going to do, especially because we're mostly going to be following Ellie now. So I don't think it's a very well written character. Dina hasn't done shit this season yet, and she's more trustworthy than Ellie, right? Yeah, no, that's the other thing. Like Isabela Merced. Now she's an actress where I'm like, I don't really know how I feel about you. I don't even know. She just seems. It's not that she's bad. It's just that she's kind of fucking just there. You know what I'm saying? She's just kind of, it's like you're saying the dialogue and everything. Like, nothing you're doing is bad, but man, I'll tell you what, there's nothing about you that's like popping for me. Nothing's popping or standing out. Because I'm trying to think of the last several movies that I've seen her in, and some of them not very good. Like in Madam Web, no one was good in that movie. No one's good in that movie. And that's like, Alien Romulus, you gave birth to an abomination after sticking yourself with black goo. I was like, that wasn't great. Yeah, she's getting more to do in this, but yeah, nothing's really, not bad. It's just like, you don't excite me when I see you. It's like, oh, another Dina scene of Isabela Merced. It's like, I don't know. We're at the dangerous levels of Pedro right now. Yeah. Overexposed, understand. Ace Team of the Year right there. Oh, how'd you know we didn't work any polls? I'm just surprised he's a Nepo baby. You're always surprised when you hear about these guys that are like fucking Nepo babies and shit. You hear about like Jake Gyllenhaal. He's like from a super uber rich family. Have like a family crest. It's like, what? But I didn't know he was a Nepo baby. She's been pregnant, everything. Yeah, she keeps getting knocked up. This is the most she's popped in a while. Part of me is like, make her the main character now. I guess so. I mean, Joel liked her. They put her with Joel more. And it's so funny because this is the last thing I'll talk about, then we got to move on to the trailers. But I liked actually a lot of the changes they made in season 1. With Bill and Frank, I thought that was a good choice because I really enjoyed that story. I liked the bits where I wish they actually did it more. I wish they kind of every episode had a prologue of like, okay, how did this place handle the infection? Like in the first 2 episodes they did that where they had what's his name? Oh, God. The guy from The Mummy. The British guy. They had him when he was talking in the 1960s, talking about the idea of a fungus infection, how we would not be prepared for something like that if it crossed over. I thought that was great, kind of introducing the concepts of the cordyceps to audiences. Like, oh, that was really cool. And they did the one where I think it was in Malaysia or something. John Hannah, thank you. John Hannah. I thought that was a great scene. I was like, oh, this is really interesting. And then in the next episode, episode 2 of season 1, they had it where I think it was in Malaysia or something, and they had that scientist come in and she explained like what's going on. She's like, fucking just bomb the cities. Just bomb them. I thought that was really cool. And I thought they would keep doing that, but then they didn't. And so I liked all that stuff. I thought that was really cool. But then season 2, like all the major changes that they've made. Catherine O'Hara, that's been a highlight. That's been a big one. But some of the other ones, anything that's dealt with Ellie has not worked at all, in my opinion. So I don't know. We'll see. I'll keep watching, but I'm concerned. I'm concerned. It's definitely not. It's definitely not reaching the same heights as the first season. In terms of the character stuff, a lot of great spectacle, no doubt, but you can only get so far spectacle before you just get tired of it, before it just becomes noise. So we'll see. We'll see.